My friends, life often feels like a roller coaster, filled with highs of joy and lows of despair. There are times when everything seems to fall apart, when darkness surrounds us, and we whisper to ourselves, maybe this is it, maybe there's no way out. But let me tell you a secret, a simple truth that can light up even the darkest night. Hope is built when we choose to believe, even when there's no visible reason to believe. Yes, that one thing, faith in the unseen good, has the power to rebuild our hearts, redirect our minds, and renew our lives. Hope doesn't come from circumstances changing. It comes from us changing within those circumstances. When everything seems lost, hope whispers, try one more time. True hope begins with the simple but powerful act of accepting reality while refusing to surrender to it. When life hits us with pain, disappointment, or loss, our first instinct is often to resist it. We say, "This shouldn't be happening," or "Why me?" But denial only deepens our suffering because it traps us in what we wish life was instead of allowing us to work with what is. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means taking a deep breath and saying, "Yes, this is my situation right now, but it will not define who I am or where I'm going." The moment we stop fighting the reality of our present, we begin freeing our minds to create a better future. When something shatters our plans, be it a failed relationship, a job loss, a health crisis, or even the death of a dream, it's easy to feel like everything has ended. We begin to think that life has abandoned us. But if we look closer, every ending carries a seed of a new beginning. Acceptance is the soil where that seed can grow. It's like standing in the rain without running for shelter, just standing there, knowing you can't stop the storm, but you can let it cleanse you. When you stop fighting the storm, you begin to hear what it's trying to tell you. That's where hope starts to rise, from understanding, not from escape. Refusing to surrender means keeping the inner flame alive even when the wind blows fiercely. It's about saying, "Yes, I'm broken right now, but I'm not destroyed." Many people confuse surrender with acceptance. They think both mean giving up, but there's a big difference. Acceptance is strength, surrender is defeat. Acceptance says, "This happened and I will still move forward." Surrender says, "This happened and I can't go on." Hope is born when we choose the first path, when we decide that our story is not over yet. Sometimes the reason we feel hopeless is because we are trying to control things that are not in our hands. We want to rewrite the past, undo the mistake, or force others to behave differently. But reality doesn't bend to our desires. It simply is. When we stop trying to control everything and start accepting what's beyond our reach, we begin to see what is within our power, our mindset, our response, our attitude. That's where our strength lies. Life is a mixture of things we choose and things we don't. Pain is often one of those things we don't choose. But how we respond to that pain is completely in our control. Hope grows in the soil of choice. It's not the absence of hardship that creates hope. It's the courage to face hardship with an open heart. The moment we accept the truth of our situation, we stop wasting energy on denial and start using it for transformation. So, when you find yourself in a hopeless place, take a pause. Look at your situation clearly and say to yourself, "This is where I am, but this is not where I will stay." Let that awareness settle in. Don't hide from the pain. Stand with it. Breathe through it and allow it to teach you. Each scar carries a lesson, and each lesson carries the seed of hope. Acceptance gives you peace, and peace gives you the strength to rebuild. The truth is, life will always throw us moments that we never asked for, but those moments also invite us to discover parts of ourselves we never knew existed. Strength, patience, courage, and faith. To accept reality without surrendering to despair is to tell the universe, "I'm ready to grow." That's the heart of hope, not escaping life's challenges, but rising above them. When life knocks us down, our minds often become flooded with one haunting question: why me? It's a question born out of pain, confusion, and disbelief. We feel wronged, unlucky, or even punished by fate. But the truth is, this question, though natural, keeps us trapped in a cycle of self-pity and helplessness. When we dwell on, "Why me?" we give our suffering more power than it deserves. The mind becomes stuck in a loop of frustration, constantly replaying what went wrong instead of searching for what can be learned. Real hope doesn't come from asking, "Why me?" It begins when we shift our question to, "What can I learn from this?" That small shift changes everything. It turns us from victims into learners, from complainers into creators, from people who suffer life to people who grow through life. Every struggle holds within it a hidden lesson waiting to be uncovered. When we start to look at our pain as a teacher, we begin to find purpose in the chaos. Think of any person who has achieved greatness or inner peace. They didn't do it because life was kind to them. They did it because they turned their pain into wisdom. When we face challenges, we're given two choices to become bitter or to become better. Asking, "What can I learn?" guides us toward the latter. It helps us see that life isn't happening to us. It's happening for us, shaping us into who we're meant to be. Imagine a seed buried deep in the soil. From the outside, it looks like it's been buried in darkness, forgotten by the world. But inside that darkness, transformation is happening. The seed must crack open for the plant to grow. In the same way, when life buries us under problems, we are not being punished, we're being prepared. The pain cracks us open so we can grow into something greater. But that growth only happens if we stop asking, "Why did this happen?" and start asking, "What is this preparing me for?" When you ask better questions, you invite better answers. "Why me?" closes the heart, it breeds resentment. "What can I learn?" opens the heart, it breeds understanding. When you learn from your hardships, the same situations that once made you cry can later make you wise. In the heartbreak that once shattered you may teach you compassion. The failure that embarrassed you may teach you resilience. The loneliness that scared you may teach you self-love. Life's greatest teachers often come disguised as life's hardest moments. Learning from challenges doesn't mean we must enjoy them or act as if the pain doesn't hurt. It simply means we recognize that our suffering has meaning. Each obstacle is an opportunity for growth. Each disappointment an invitation to see life from a higher perspective. When you begin to ask, what is this situation trying to teach me? You shift your energy from despair to discovery. You start to see that the universe is not against you, it's guiding you. Hope grows in this space of learning. When you extract lessons from pain, you begin to trust that every hardship has a purpose. This trust is what keeps you going even when the path ahead is unclear. You start realizing that challenges are not roadblocks, they're redirections. You see that every closed door is pointing you toward the one that's meant for you, and that realization fills your heart with peace, even before the situation changes. So, instead of drowning in the question, why me? Rise with the question, what can I learn? Because the moment you begin to learn, you begin to heal. And when you heal, you naturally begin to hope again. Pain may visit everyone, but hope visits only those who are willing to learn from it. In the middle of every storm, it's easy to believe that it will never end. When life feels heavy, when the days blend into nights filled with uncertainty, we start thinking that our suffering is permanent. But life, by its very nature, moves in seasons. No winter lasts forever, no night holds back the dawn forever, and no storm can keep raining endlessly. Everything that begins has an end, and everything that ends makes space for something new to begin. This is the rhythm of existence, and when we understand it deeply, hope starts to take root within us again. There are moments in life when pain feels unending, when you lose someone you love, when your dreams crumble before your eyes, or when you're simply stuck in a place that seems impossible to escape. During such times, your heart tells you that this is forever. But life has a beautiful way of proving us wrong. Just as nature shifts from harsh winters to blooming springs, our lives too are designed to move from despair to renewal. The same way you cannot hold back the sunrise, you cannot hold back the next chapter of your growth. Sometimes the darkness stays long enough to teach us something essential before the light returns. Hope grows when we remind ourselves that change is the only constant. Everything around us is temporary. Pain, joy, success, failure, confusion, and even clarity. Understanding this truth doesn't make our pain vanish, but it gives us patience to endure it. When we accept that every season has its purpose, we stop resisting life and start flowing with it. Just as trees lose their leaves in autumn, not because they're dying, but because they're preparing for renewal, we too must sometimes shed old layers, people, habits, and beliefs so new growth can emerge. In hopeless times, we often forget this cycle. We think the storm means the end of peace. But peace isn't the absence of storms, it's the confidence that storms will pass. If we look closely, nature teaches us resilience every day. The river keeps flowing, even when rocks block its path. The sun keeps rising, even after the darkest nights. The caterpillar's struggle inside the cocoon is what gives birth to the butterfly. If nature has built this pattern of transformation into everything, how could human life be any different? Our pain is simply the soil where new strength grows. One of the most powerful things we can do during tough seasons is to remind ourselves of the times we've already survived. Think of the past, moments when you felt broken, certain that you wouldn't make it through. And yet, here you are. That's proof that you have already faced temporary darkness before. You didn't just survive it, you grew stronger because of it. Each time we endure a storm, we become more grounded, more compassionate, and more prepared for the future. Remembering that gives us courage. Hope isn't blind optimism. It's the quiet assurance that even when you can't see the light, it's still coming. Just because the sun is hidden behind clouds doesn't mean it has disappeared. It's still shining. You just have to wait until the clouds move. Similarly, when life hides the light of your happiness behind pain, it doesn't mean your joy is gone forever. It's just waiting for its time to return. So, when you find yourself in a season that feels unbearable, hold on to the truth that no feeling, no hardship, and no moment lasts forever. Change will come, just as it always has. You may not know how or when, but the seasons of your life are always moving. The key is to keep walking through them with faith, knowing that spring always follows winter, and that your present struggle is just one chapter, not your whole story. The people we surround ourselves with have an invisible but powerful influence on the way we think, feel, and act. When we find ourselves in moments of hopelessness, our environment often determines whether we rise again or fall deeper into despair. Hope is like a fragile flame. It burns brightly when protected, but it can easily be extinguished by harsh winds. Those winds often come in the form of negative voices, people who drain your energy, magnify your fears, or make you doubt your worth. That's why surrounding yourself with positivity isn't just a nice idea, it's a necessity if you want to rebuild hope in dark times. When everything feels lost, we naturally crave encouragement, understanding, and faith from others. But sometimes, the world offers the opposite: criticism, judgment, or indifference. The more we absorb these negative energies, the heavier our hearts become. If we are constantly told that we can't, we start to believe it. If we spend too much time with those who complain, we start seeing life as unfair. It's like being in a room full of smoke. Eventually, you start coughing, even if you weren't the one who lit the fire. Positivity, however, is like fresh air. It helps us breathe again, think clearly, and regain strength. The truth is, No one can stay hopeful alone forever. We all need voices around us that remind us of our strength when we forget it. Think of a plant. It grows toward the sunlight. In the same way, human beings grow toward the energy that uplifts them. When you surround yourself with people who see possibilities rather than problems, who inspire you rather than discourage you, your heart begins to open again. Their energy becomes a mirror reflecting your own potential. Even a few words from the right person can make you feel seen, valued, and capable again. It's not only about being around positive people, but also about creating a positive environment for yourself. Sometimes, you might not have access to supportive people, and that's okay. You can still build your environment with the things that lift your spirit, books that inspire you, music that heals you, places that calm your mind, or even silence that allows your soul to breathe. Fill your space with what nourishes your heart, because what you repeatedly expose yourself to shapes the way you see life. If your mind constantly hears words of encouragement, reads stories of courage, and absorbs ideas of growth, it naturally begins to rebuild hope. Positivity is contagious, but so is negativity. Be mindful of what you allow into your mental and emotional space. You don't have to hate or judge people who drain your energy. You just have to protect your peace. Sometimes loving yourself means loving from a distance. It means choosing people who make you grow, not those who make you shrink. It's not about finding perfect people. It's about finding those who remind you of your own perfection when you can't see it. When you begin to prioritize positivity, your whole outlook starts to change. The same problems may still exist, but your response to them becomes different. You start to see challenges as opportunities, setbacks as lessons, and struggles as temporary. The right energy around you gives you the courage to keep walking even when the road feels endless. It fuels your faith and reminds you that hope is not something you have to search for far away. It's something you can nurture right where you are. So, if you ever feel hopeless, take a moment to notice who and what surrounds you. Ask yourself, does this environment lift me or drain me? Then make the conscious choice to fill your world with people, thoughts, and experiences that remind you of light. Because when you stand among those who carry hope, it's almost impossible not to find it glowing within yourself again. In moments when life feels overwhelming, one of the biggest reasons we lose hope is because our minds become consumed with everything beyond our control. We worry about what others think of us, what outcomes will unfold, or how circumstances might change. But hope doesn't grow in the soil of control, it grows in the soil of focus. The more we try to control what we can't, the more powerless we feel. Yet, the moment we turn our attention toward what is within our hands, our thoughts, our choices, our actions, we begin to rediscover our strength. Focusing on what we can control doesn't remove the chaos around us, but it brings peace within us. It reminds us that even when life feels uncertain, we still hold the power to shape our inner world. Imagine being in the middle of a storm at sea. You cannot calm the wind or stop the waves, but you can steer your boat. You can adjust your sails, hold your direction, and keep yourself afloat until the storm passes. That's what focusing on what you can control means. It's steering your life even when the weather isn't in your favor. The problem is that most of us spend too much energy shouting at the wind, blaming the storm, or feeling helpless about the waves. We forget that our strength lies not in controlling the storm, but in managing ourselves within it. When life throws unexpected challenges at us, it's natural to feel anxious. But when we shift our focus from, "Why is this happening?" to, "What can I do right now?" and the feeling of helplessness starts to fade, action, even in small doses, builds hope. If you can't fix the entire situation, start by doing the next right thing. Something small, meaningful, and within reach. It could be as simple as taking a deep breath, calling a friend, applying for a new opportunity, or deciding to forgive. Small actions remind us that we are not entirely powerless. Every step we take, no matter how small, is a statement of strength against despair. Focusing on what you can control also protects your mental energy in thee. When you constantly think about things outside your control, your mind becomes drained and your spirit weakens. You begin to imagine worst-case scenarios, and fear takes over. But when you consciously choose to center your attention on your effort and your attitude and your mindset, you build emotional resilience. You start to realize that peace doesn't come from everything going your way. It comes from knowing that you can handle things even when they don't. Many times, our suffering deepens not because of the event itself, but because of our resistance to it. We fight reality, hoping it will bend to our expectations. But once we accept what we cannot change and take charge of what we can, our hearts begin to settle. The anxiety that once consumed us transforms into quiet determination. That is the birthplace of hope, not in the absence of problems, but in the presence of inner control. Even in hopeless situations, there's always something we can choose. We can choose to think positively, to respond with kindness, to keep faith, or to take one more step forward. These small choices create ripples of change within us. The more we focus on our own efforts rather than external outcomes, the more empowered we become. Hope doesn't require certainty about tomorrow. It only needs confidence in what we can do today. So, when everything feels out of your hands, remember this truth. You are not meant to control the entire world, only your inner world. Once you begin to master that space, your attitude, your perspective, your reaction, life begins to change, even if nothing outside has changed yet. Because in that moment, you rediscover the one thing. You never truly lost your power to choose hope. In the middle of chaos and despair, when everything feels like it's falling apart, one of the most powerful ways to rebuild hope is to practice gratitude. It may sound simple, even impossible, to be grateful when you're hurting, but that's exactly when gratitude works its deepest magic. Gratitude is not about pretending everything is fine. It's about finding light. Even when surrounded by darkness, it's the art of recognizing that even in pain, there are still blessings, however small, that deserve our attention. The human heart cannot hold gratitude and hopelessness at the same time. In the moment we start counting what's still good, what's still present, what's still beautiful, our spirit begins to heal. When we are lost in hopelessness, our mind becomes wired to focus on what's missing. We dwell on the things that went wrong, the people who left, or the dreams that didn't come true. We get trapped in a loop of loss, where all we can see are the empty spaces. Gratitude breaks that loop by reminding us that not everything is lost. There are still things, small, quiet, precious things, that life continues to give. It might be as simple as a kind word from someone, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, a moment of laughter, or even the simple gift of breath. Gratitude doesn't ignore pain, it coexists with it, allowing you to see that life still holds goodness amid struggle. Sometimes, gratitude doesn't come naturally. It must be practiced deliberately. When you wake up each morning, your mind may rush to problems, to-do lists, or regrets. But if you take a moment to acknowledge one thing you're thankful for, a roof over your head, food on your plate, a body that allows you to move, that small act shifts your focus. It's like turning a flashlight on in a dark room. The darkness doesn't disappear immediately, but you begin to see your way forward. That's what gratitude does. It helps you navigate through the night. It's important to understand that gratitude isn't about comparing yourself to others and saying, it could be worse. That's not gratitude. That's guilt wrapped as perspective. True gratitude is about appreciation, not comparison. It's saying, despite what's missing, I'm thankful for what remains. This kind of gratitude builds emotional strength. It gives you the courage to keep going because you begin to see life not as completely broken, but as incomplete. And incompleteness always holds room for hope. When you focus on what you're grateful for, your entire inner chemistry changes. Your thoughts become lighter, your breathing steadier, and your heart more open. Science even proves that gratitude can lower stress and increase happiness, but beyond science, gratitude touches something deeply spiritual. It connects us to the present moment. It reminds us that this moment, right now, is enough, that life, even with its imperfections, is still a gift. When you start appreciating the small joys, you make space for bigger ones to return. Gratitude also softens the pain of what's gone. When you're thankful for the time you had, for the lessons learned, or for the love that once was, your grief transforms. Instead of bitterness, there's acceptance. Instead of regret, there's peace. Gratitude doesn't erase the scars. It makes them sacred reminders of what you've survived. It tells you, yes, I've been hurt, but I've also been blessed. That dual awareness is what keeps the heart balanced in hard times. So, even when it feels impossible, start small. Find one thing today to be grateful for. One person, one moment, one memory. Write it down, whisper it to yourself. Or simply close your eyes and feel it in your heart. With every small act of gratitude, the walls of hopelessness begin to crack. Light seeps in slowly but surely. Because gratitude, when practiced sincerely, doesn't just make us feel better. It teaches us to see life differently. And that shift in perspective is the seed from which is born again. Hope is often born from vision, the ability to see beyond what is into what could be. When life feels hopeless, it's usually because we've lost sight of tomorrow. We stop imagining better days, stop dreaming, and stop believing that change is possible. But vision has the power to reignite our inner fire. It gives direction when everything feels uncertain. Having a vision doesn't mean you have every step figured out. It simply means you have a reason to keep walking. It's that quiet whisper in your heart that says, there's something more ahead, just keep going. When we hold a vision for tomorrow, we give our lives meaning today. When we lose hope, it's often because our focus becomes trapped in the present pain. The weight of the current moment blinds us to future possibilities. But if you lift your eyes just a little higher, above the storm, beyond the struggle, you begin to see that this is only one chapter of your story, not the whole book. Vision allows you to remember that no matter how dark it is now, there's always a sunrise waiting beyond the horizon. The power of vision lies in its ability to pull you forward. Even when your circumstances seem to be pushing you back, a clear vision is like a compass for the soul. It doesn't remove obstacles, but it reminds you of your destination. It helps you remember why you're enduring the journey. When you have a sense of purpose, something bigger than your pain, every step, no matter how difficult, feels worthwhile. Even in the middle of chaos, a person with vision walks differently. They may stumble, but they don't stay down for long because they can still see the finish line in their mind. In the vision is not something that only dreamers or successful people possess. It's something every human heart is capable of holding. It might be the vision of a healed relationship, a fulfilling career, a healthier body, or simply a peaceful mind. It doesn't have to be grand, it just has to be genuine. The moment you start picturing a better tomorrow, your energy shifts. Your mind starts finding ways to make that vision a reality. Hope doesn't just appear, it's created through focus and imagination. When life feels dark, your vision becomes the light that guides you through it. You might not be able to see the entire path, but even a small light is enough to take one more step forward. Sometimes that's all it takes. One step in faith, one step in belief. The vision you hold in your heart acts as a promise that your current pain has a purpose, that your struggle is leading somewhere meaningful. Without vision, life feels directionless. But with it, even the hardest road begins to make sense. Having a vision also strengthens resilience. When you have a clear picture of where you want to be, you stop letting temporary difficulties define you. You start understanding that setbacks are not signs of failure, they're simply tests of commitment. Every time you fall, your vision reminds you why you need to rise again. It's not the absence of obstacles that gives people hope. It's the clarity of purpose that keeps them moving despite them. Your vision doesn't have to be perfect or fully formed. It just has to be alive. It can evolve as you grow, change as you change. What matters is that you don't let it die, even when circumstances try to bury it. Because vision is more than a plan. It's a lifeline. It's the invisible bridge that connects your present struggle to your future strength. So, when you feel hopeless, close your eyes and imagine what life could look like beyond this pain. Picture yourself healed, happy, peaceful, fulfilled. Let that image fill your heart. Let it remind you that you are not stuck where you are. You are on your way to something greater. The power of vision is that it gives you hope before anything has even changed. It reminds you that the story is still unfolding and the best chapters are yet to come.